It's a trio of Dreo fans in the house, yo. One is a HEPA filter equipped purifier tower fan with dual motors, which is a first in its class, so you can have it cool or filter or both. Kinda sorta like a Dyson purifier, except for a fraction of the cost. And the other two are whole room air circulators that are unlike your typical Vornados or Airmates that you find on the street. And it doesn't hurt that all three have really nice designs. Anyways, in this video, I'm gonna run through the specs and then we'll talk about the pros and the cons and then give them a final score at the end. But the big question here is though, will any of these win you over? Get it? No? I'm not a fan of that one either, huh? Wow, tough crowd. So here are the three fans, and starting from the leftmost is the 513S, otherwise known as the Hurricane, and it retails for 140 bucks, two colorways. So there's this dark gray as well as a lighter silver that's similar to that one. It has 8 speeds that push up to 100 feet of airflow. That's pretty darn strong for its size. It also has axis control of 120 degrees horizontal and 105 degrees vertical, which is pretty darn impressive for its type. Both of them are anyways. And it's height adjustable to 42 inches tall. Right down there's the adjustment knob. In terms of the noise level for the 513, I measured it right outside the casing as well as in between the fans right here. So on the external side of the casing, I got around 30 decibels for speed 1 all the way up to 55 decibels for speed 8, the highest. And likewise, when I measured within the fan, it was 42 decibels all the way up to 80 decibels max. The newest oscillating fan model to the Dreo line is the 710S, and this thing retails for $10 more than the Hurricane at 150 bucks, and it comes in silver as well as gold. It has one extra speed, 9 speeds altogether, pushing air up to 110 feet in this case. And the axis control is even greater, 150 degrees horizontal and 120 degrees vertical. The blades are 9-inch, by the way, and in terms of sound, it's a little bit louder, accounting to the larger motor. Measured on the outside of the casing at minimum speed 32 decibels all the way up to 55 decibels for speed 9. And within the fan blades, it was 64 decibels all the way up to 82 decibels. The maximum height is a little bit taller. I think it's like 42.5 inches, but visually they look identical at maximum height. And in terms of the legs right down there, the shaft, this thing is about 5 millimeters thinner than the Hurricane, which is a strange thing. I'm not sure why, but it is visually different. Both the 513 and the 704 move around 890-900 cubic feet per minute of air, which is on par with the rest of the competition. And there are 3 ways, at least, to control these devices, all 3 of them. Besides voice, there's Google Assistant, Alexa control, but physically you have the digital panel on top of the 513 and at the front on the stem here on the 704, and for the 710 is at the top as well. The remote itself is really nicely made. The buttons are nice. And also a funny thing is, if you own all 3 or any 2 or any combination that uses a Dreo remote, the single remote controls all 3. So if I point it there, see both fans at least turn on, and that one did as well in the middle. The MC710, it runs $270, one colorway as far as I know. It has separate air quality and temperature automation with one dedicated DC motor for each function. So there is a fan up here and a fan down below. This is a air filtration system, and it has an air quality sensor behind the unit that reads the air in the room, and it gives you a readout, and then it refreshes the air as needed. This thing has 12 speeds and it moves up to 1,560 cubic feet per minute of air. And it has noise level pretty much louder than either one, around 72 decibels from the fan, the red of the fan here, all the way up to 81 decibels. So the filter down below is a HEPA filter, dual stage, that traps around like usual way, 99.9% of particles down to 0.3 micrometers. But one thing to note is the filter is not washable. You have to buy a new one every few months, 6 months or something like that. So something to bear in mind in the total cost of ownership. So I wanted to quickly show you how the app looks like, and once you have the device paired, this is really how it looks like for all the three devices. Let me scroll through. So that's the tower fan, and you have the big fan, as I call it, for the 704. Now back to the 513, this is the main screen, and you have all of them share the same thing: temperature control settings, where you can update your firmware and things like that. Check out the manual if you have to, and also set up schedules as needed, and also have a timer right there if you like to use that. And here, if you tap this is the main primary control. If you want to quickly just power on and power off. And one cool thing is when you power off the devices, it resets into its docking or resting position, which is pretty nice. Now, if you power it back on again, it will slowly restart. And when you tap this, it brings you to the more granular controls. If you want to quickly go to turbo, you just press turbo, for example, and you can customize a quick button as well. But if you want to play around with it, like change speeds, you just use the slider, use the natural breeze mode where it pulsates and things like that. It's really nice. Or if you want to use the built-in temperature sensor, you can use auto, and it'll let it figure out how much speed and how much power it needs to cool down your room, or keep it an ideal temperature. And here's where you can really get into the detail of the oscillation, so you can manually control how wide or how narrow you want the fan to move around. So if you have this against a really tight wall, for example, you can have the oscillation on the horizontal axis to be horizontal axis to be much narrower, which is so convenient. Now, if you have the oscillation turned off, you can also manually play, like this is a remote control for moving the fan by itself. Let me try to show you the fan itself. See, I'm moving it left and it does it left that way. So there's that. And right below that is preferences, where you can turn on and off the display, have a child lock, and even calibrate the oscillation. All these fans, you can do that, which is pretty darn cool. Now, the other one I want to show you is, let me turn this off real quick so we're not bothered by the sound. I want to show you how the 710 tower fan works. Now, the only difference, the rest of the controls are pretty much the same. You can control the speed and all that kind of such, but where it differs is the filtration system, which is pretty darn cool. Here it will read out the air quality, and so you can check on it, and it'll have a report if you like. But once you're in the speed controls, you can also, this is where I was talking about, there's two separate fans for this, so you can run this independently if you just want air purification. Right here, you can turn on and off the fan, purification fan, from auto to speed 1 or 2, and or you can also have the secondary main fan, cooling fan, running together with it or without it. So that's really cool. So if you want to circulate some fresh air to a wider space, you can do that, or just want to let it do its filtration thing in the background, really nice and quiet, you can also do that. All the other controls are very similar. This is really the biggest difference between, in terms of the app and the user experience, between all the other fans. The 704 has a touch-sensitive touch panel right here on the stem, as well as a digital readout right here in the middle that oscillates along with the fan itself. So for what it's worth, some of you may prefer viewing that in the dark especially. There's a carry handle at the back here, which is nice and convenient, and also a remote holder, which none of the other two have, which is really strange. Maybe, I hope Dreo sells an accessory, or maybe provides it in future batches, which is really convenient. Here is the tighter knob to when you want to raise and lower the fan itself, and this tightens it. And something I want to note too is on the back here, this is the power connector cable. This is L-shaped, which is really nice and neat, whereas the 513 is a straight barrel, so it just pokes out like that, a little bit less refined. And in terms of also the controls, it's very different here. Here is the display panel, and at the top is the controls. Here's the control panel for the 710 tower fan, and here's the digital display that's customizable in the app as well. So you can define if you want to see air quality or air speed or whatnot right here. And here's obviously is the outlet, and down here where the filtration fan chamber is, it kind of looks like a cross between a vacuum cleaner and one of those standing furnaces at restaurants, you know those? And I took the back cover off so you can see the filter a little bit better. It is replaceable, but not reusable. The biggest thing about the 513 as well as the 704 is that it will feel like you have air conditioning going when these are doing their whole oscillating contortions. And the way they throw and push the air around the room creates wind that feels like it's coming from multiple locations rather than one single source. The cooling effect is rather subtle, but very effective as well. And of course, if you want to, you can stand close to or directly in front of it and feel the full force of those powerful fans. The MC710 also outputs plenty of air around any large room, but it operates more like a regular tower fan in terms of that aspect. But where it really shines is in providing cleaner air for your family. Like pound for pound, the filtered air is as good as a Dyson, except maybe for something like the brand new BP4, which honestly costs too much for its own good. One simple but huge plus as well is, well, if you look around Amazon, you see that Dreo wisely kept the prices of these fans competitively similar to mainstream brands. And yet, even at these prices, these things are packed with features that work right and without needing much fiddling with the controls or with the app. I mean, I still think everyone should read the manual at least once just to get to know the whole system, but otherwise the Dreos, as technologically packed as they are, they still and can behave like invisible appliances. The 74S is supposedly the higher end model, right? But it doesn't have the leather-looking side arms and silver flecks in the paint job that we saw earlier like its smaller sibling. But on the flip side, only the 74S has a holder for the included remote. The other two have diddly squat. Thank the goodness you have the app and the remote to control the Hurricane, because just imagine having to press those buttons while the housing is pivoting around. What a missed opportunity to have a washable HEPA filter rather than the expendable version currently on the 710. I mean, have you seen how much a replacement goes for right now? Like 50 buckaroos each. Yikes. If you live in a dusty locale, that's like $100 to $150 per year. And I'm just hoping third-party makers get in on the action like soon with cheaper filters. I have a prediction. At the rate it's going, Dreo is fixing to be the next Dyson. Their chef maker, don't call me an air fryer, combination fryer, has been winning awards left and right this year. And then you have this threesome that totally raises the bar for others to follow in terms of design, features, and performance. The only area where Dreo isn't Dyson, thank goodness, is their pricing. The fans, they run within $10-20 of other brands, so you don't have to like pay through your teeth for the privilege. The one big unknown though is long-term reliability and customer service. Dreo is still relatively new at this and will definitely need to be at the top of their game this year to gain customer trust. Hey, by the way, if you've been using a Dreo product, it'll be fantastic. Get it? Fantastic. If you could share your experiences in the comments, I'm sure it'll help out a lot of other folks here. That's all I got today, guys. Thank you so much for being here. And if you like what I do, remember to subscribe and thumbs up this video and reshare the heck out of this channel with your friends. Thanks to Dreo also for sending me all three of these fans, and in no way did that affect the honesty and purity of this review, because that's how we do it here at TNTT. And thank you again for being here, guys. Remember to do something loving and kind for somebody in this world, because guess what? The world needs it more than ever, and it starts with you. I love you all very much. Peace out and God bless.